Bam! My mom opened the door and said I was a stranger. My brother was laughing behind the wall, and I was holding presents for everyone. And then I learned the truth about the betrayal, about the money, about the lies that had been hidden for years. And you know what? This is not just a drama. This is the beginning of a war. It was the kind of cold that stung through your coat and tried to get under your skin like a secret. I stood on the front porch of my childhood home, bags of carefully wrapped presents in each hand, the snow crunching beneath my boots. The lights on the house twinkled like nothing was wrong. Like everything inside was merry and bright. For once, I hadn't left anything until the last minute. I'd bought gifts for my parents, my brother Adam, his wife Kelly, their 2 kids, even a few extras, just in case someone unexpected showed up. Something told me this year would be different. Peaceful, maybe. Less transactional. It wasn't a gut feeling. It was hope. Stupid, reckless hope. The door opened. And the first thing I noticed wasn't the warmth of the house spilling into the frozen air or the scent of cinnamon. It was my mother's expression, flat, composed, unreadable. "Sorry," she said, like she didn't know me. "I think you have the wrong house." I blinked. My fingers tightened around the bag handles. "What?" "I don't recognize you," she repeated, as though this were a script. Her voice was calm. "Practiced. You should probably leave." My body moved before my brain could catch up. I stepped forward, confusion catching in my throat. "Mom, it's me." "What?" The door shut. Smoothly. Not a slam. A click. Like closing a folder on a desktop. Like a decision had been made. I stood there, staring at my own reflection in the darkened window pane, listening to the muffled laughter behind it. Someone turned up the music. I could hear the opening chords of some cheery holiday classic. Inside, someone popped open a bottle. My phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, but I did. "Adam." I answered it like a fool. "Don't be upset," he said. No greeting. No apology. Just that condescending, flippant tone he used when he was pretending to be calm. "But you know we couldn't let you in." My breath caught. "What?" I asked, staring at the glowing lights in the window. "Adam, what are you talking about? You know how things are, okay?" He sighed, annoyed like this conversation was an inconvenience. "It's complicated. Just, please don't make a scene." A scene. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because something in my chest cracked wide open. Then I heard it, his voice, not realizing he hadn't hung up. "He still thinks helping with rent means he's automatically included." A woman in the background, probably Kelly, let out a low, pitying mmm. I ended the call. My hands were shaking, but not from the cold. The same house I had kept afloat during Dad's unemployment. The same people I'd bailed out of a foreclosure. The same mouths I'd fed when they couldn't cover groceries. I had become invisible. No worse. Disposable. I pulled out my phone, thumb hovering over the banking app. I stared at the account I'd set up for them. The automated rent transfer. The emergency line of credit. The prepaid utilities. I tapped cancel. One by one. The card I gave Adam for gas? Blocked. The grocery delivery account linked to my email? Deleted. Each click felt like a knife sliding back into its sheath. Not revenge. Just clarity. By morning, I had 61 missed calls. My phone buzzed like it had a heartbeat. But I didn't answer. I stared at the screen like it belonged to someone else. Some other fool who hadn't spent a decade cleaning up other people's messes while they whispered about how controlling he was behind his back. I wasn't always the outsider. I used to be the fix-it guy. The problem solver. The emergency contact. When Dad lost his job 3 years ago, I covered the mortgage. When Mom needed dental surgery, I paid the bill before it went to collections. When Adam's car broke down and Kelly was between jobs, I covered their rent for 4 months. No questions asked. Because that's what family did. Right? Wrong. That was just the lie they told to keep the money coming. The first crack came last Thanksgiving. I'd paid for the entire dinner. Everything: turkey, sides, dessert, even that overpriced wine Dad liked to show off to the neighbors. But when it was time for the family photo, they asked me to take it. Just the family, Jake, Mom had said, waving me out of the shot. I laughed it off, pretended it didn't hurt. But the cracks kept spreading. Adam got a new SUV for his birthday, paid for by our parents. When I asked why I never got anything close to that, Mom smiled and said, "Oh Jake, you've always been so independent." Independent. That's the polite word people use when they mean alone. Still, I stayed. Still, I gave. I told myself it didn't matter. I didn't need recognition. I just wanted them to be okay. But they weren't okay. They were comfortable. Comfortable exploiting me. Comfortable pretending I didn't matter unless they needed something.
That night, as I sat in the dark living room of my apartment, surrounded by unopened gifts and silence, something inside me changed.
I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I was done.
And for the first time in years, I realized just how much power I had the entire time.
They didn't shut me out. I walked away. And I wasn't going back. I didn't sleep that night.
I just sat there on the couch in my apartment, still in my coat, the bags of gifts untouched beside me.
I stared at the wall like it might offer an answer. A reason. A why that made sense. None came.
I checked the call log again, 61 missed calls. A number that felt both ridiculous and somehow insufficient. If guilt were real, they should have called 1,000 times.
Should have driven across the city. Should have broken my door down. Instead, silence. No knock. No apology. Not even a voicemail worth playing. It hit me like a sucker punch. I could disappear, and they wouldn't chase me. They'd whisper about me at holidays. Talk about how I changed, how I became cold, how I used to be such a good brother. But no one would come looking. Because I was never the priority. I was the fixer. A tool. And tools aren't mourned when they're gone. They're just replaced. 3 days passed. No contact. The silence didn't hurt anymore. It calcified.
On the 4th day, I returned one call, my Aunt Liza. She used to babysit us when we were kids, back when things still felt halfway decent.
Jake, she breathed as soon as she answered. Oh, thank God. Everyone's so worried. No, they're not, I interrupted.
They're worried about the consequences.
Not about me.
There was a pause. Then she said something that pissed me off more than anything my mother had ever muttered.
They just didn't want to ruin the mood, sweetie. Christmas was for the kids. I closed my eyes. So was last year, I said. And the year before that.
And the one where I paid for Adam's rent so his kids wouldn't have to wake up in a shelter. Her voice softened.
It's not your responsibility to punish them.
No, I said, teeth clenched.
But it's definitely not mine to save them either. I hung up. That was the last call I took.
I spent the next week purging.
Not just contacts. Memories. I deleted shared family photo albums. I pulled my name from the joint emergency savings account.
I shut down the streaming services that I'd been quietly paying for under my login, yes, even that one Adam always used for his kids' cartoons.
The only thing left was the house. The house I'd helped save when the bank came knocking.
I didn't own it, not on paper, but I had the receipts.
Literal receipts. My name on the transfer notes. The emergency wiring fees. Every last cent. I sent an email. Subject line, final notice.
In the body, effective immediately, I will no longer be making payments toward your mortgage. Please make alternate arrangements.
2 hours later, I got a text from my mother. Mom, Jake, please don't do this. We didn't mean to hurt you. It was just complicated. I didn't reply. Adam, you're blowing this way out of proportion. Still no reply. Then, the kicker. Dad, your mother's been crying all day. I hope you're happy. That one made me laugh. For real. Happy? No. Liberated? A little.
Because for the first time, I saw it clearly.
They weren't afraid of losing me.
They were afraid of losing what I gave them.
My usefulness. Their ATM. Their fixer. Their ghost.
A week later, my doorbell rang. It was a kid, maybe 10, holding a manila envelope with my name written in cursive. From your family, he said. They paid me $10 to bring it.
I gave him 15 to never come back. Inside the envelope was a letter. Handwritten. From Adam. Jake, I don't know what to say. You're probably not going to read this. I guess I just wanted you to know that we never wanted things to end up like this. We were trying to keep the peace. Protect the kids from drama.
You know how Christmas gets.
I know you helped a lot. Probably more than we ever said. It's not that we didn't appreciate it. It's just that sometimes, you made it feel like we were indebted to you.
Like your help came with strings.
Anyway, you do what you need to do. Just, don't forget we're still family.
I read the last line 3 times.
Still family. And then I laughed again. Not because it was funny.
But because it was exactly the kind of gaslighting I had grown up with, sweetly worded, guilt-laced manipulation masquerading as love.
They wanted the old Jake back. The one who showed up. Who smiled while being used.
Who played Santa while being erased from the photo.
He's gone. In his place? Something new. Something dangerous. Not violent. Not reckless. Just awake. That night, I poured myself a drink and opened a blank note on my laptop. At the top, I typed, the things they took. Then beneath it, birthdays I wasn't invited to. Dinners where I paid but didn't get a thank you. Jokes they made about me when they thought I wasn't listening. The time mom called Adam her only real child and pretended it was a joke. The Christmas they staged a photo shoot without me. The list kept growing. And with every line, I felt lighter. More certain. I wasn't going back. Not even for an apology. Because the old Jake, the fixer, the ghost, the obedient second son, he was dead. And what was rising in his place? Something colder. Smarter. And ready to burn bridges so cleanly no one would ever trace the smoke. You ever want to scream but end up smiling instead? That's where I was. A frozen smile. A stretched mask. Beneath it, fire. I didn't rage. I didn't plot revenge in some cartoonish, over-the-top fantasy. No. I became clinical. Precise. I started collecting receipts. Not just financial ones. Real ones. Digital traces. Screenshots. Forwarded texts. Voice recordings. All the things they thought didn't matter. I built a folder on my desktop called Winter. In it were Venmo records for the $800 loan Adam never paid back. Email threads where mom guilted me into helping with the mortgage. A PDF of my wire transfer history to their joint emergency account, $14,672 over 5 years. Photos of Christmas gifts I'd bought the kids, now clearly regifted based on a Facebook photo Kelly posted, tagging her cousin. Audio from the accidental call where Adam called me a parasite. Every file was labeled with the date, time, and context. Not for court. Not for revenge. Just so I'd never forget. 3 weeks after Christmas, Adam showed up at my office. Big mistake. He walked in like he owned the place, collared shirt, fake concern, trying to act like this was just a brotherly drop-in. Hey, man, he said, smiling. You've been MIA. Figured I'd stop by. I leaned back in my chair. You figured wrong. His smile twitched. Look, I know things got tense. Tense. I tilted my head. You mean the part where mom pretended not to know me? Or the part where you called me a loser on speakerphone? His eyes flickered. That was taken out of context. I wasn't aware real-time audio required context. He pulled out a chair, sat across from me. Jake, come on. You've always been the strong one. The responsible one. We leaned on you because you could handle it. There it was. The compliment as a leash. I'm not your crutch anymore, I said quietly. He blinked. We're family. You keep using that word, I said. But you have no idea what it means. I opened my drawer. Pulled out a printed spreadsheet. These are all the payments I've made to or on behalf of the family. Want to take a look? He glanced down. Total, $31,085.52. His face drained. What is this? An invoice. He laughed. Nervously. You're joking. No, I said, standing. You have 30 days. After that, interest begins to accrue. You're insane. No, I said. I'm healed. He stood up fast, knocking the chair backward. This is ridiculous. You're weaponizing generosity. No, I said again. You turned love into a transaction. I just sent the bill. He stormed out. That night, I got a call from my mother. Straight to voicemail. Then a text. Mom, your brother said you tried to extort him. Please come to dinner Sunday. Let's talk. I'll make pot roast. Pot roast. As if the trauma could be smothered in gravy. I didn't reply. Instead, I clicked open the Facebook group my aunt ran, Family Ties, Sunday Memories, where every relative uploaded their carefully staged family photos, nostalgic anecdotes, and prayer requests. And I uploaded one photo. Just one. The Christmas gifts I had bought, the ones Adam and Kelly rewrapped and handed out again at their New Year's brunch. Caption, sometimes, family unwraps your generosity, relabels it, and calls it their own. Merry belated. I logged off. Went to sleep. Dreamt of nothing. The next morning, something strange happened. I received a message. From Kelly. Adam's wife. Subject, are you awake? Attached, a voice memo. I hesitated, then hit play. Jake, I don't know how to say this, but I need to tell you something. It's about the money. About Adam. About Christmas. I should have said something a long time ago. I froze. The message continued. I know you think you were helping keep them afloat. But it's not what you think. There's something Adam never told you. Something none of them did. I think you should come by without telling anyone. The voice shook. Then it ended. I sat back in my chair, heart thudding. Something shifted in that moment, something I didn't see coming. A question I hadn't thought to ask. What if the betrayal wasn't just ungratefulness? What if it was hiding something worse? And what if I wasn't the only one who'd been used? I arrived at Kelly's house just after 7 p.m. Her text had been specific: don't knock. Don't park in front. Come through the back gate. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of cul-de-sac where everything looked still and peaceful. But nothing about this felt normal. I parked around the block, cut the engine, sat in the dark for 5 minutes, just breathing. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. The kind of ready you feel before a final exam you already know you'll pass, but you're still waiting to see the questions. I followed the instructions. The back gate creaked open. The kitchen door was unlocked. Kelly was already inside, sitting at the table, hands folded like she was praying. The moment she saw me, her eyes welled up. She looked thinner, frazzled. The version of her that showed up in curated Instagram posts was gone. You came, she said softly. You sounded like someone with a secret. She nodded, motioned for me to sit. I should have told you sooner. But I was scared. Still am. Of Adam? I asked. She flinched. Not just him. I sat across from her. Start from the beginning. She took a deep breath. It wasn't just Christmas. That whole night, everything was staged. I stared at her. What do you mean? She looked up. They knew you were coming. They timed it. My blood chilled. What? Your mom tipped Adam off that you were probably going to surprise them this year. The presents, the timing, it didn't feel like you. It felt final. Like you were trying to reclaim something. I didn't speak. Kelly continued. Adam had this idea. Said if they made it look like you weren't welcome, like you were an outsider, it would finally put you in your place. He said it would fix the dynamic. Fix it how? I asked slowly. She hesitated. Then she whispered, you were a threat. My breath caught. To what? The inheritance. I blinked. There is no inheritance. I've been paying their bills. Kelly shook her head. You're wrong. There's a trust fund. Old money. From your grandfather. Your mom's side. Quietly managed. Set to release full control in 2 years. My throat dried out. No one ever told me that. They weren't going to. She stood, walked to a drawer, pulled out a folder. Inside were photocopies, documents, bank statements. A scanned letter with your name misspelled, Jacob D. Miller, listing your father as custodian of funds you never even knew existed. My name. On a trust. Hidden. Buried under decades of silence. They were terrified you'd find out, she said. Because you've got receipts. Proof you've been the one supporting them. If it ever went legal, you'd be able to claim a disproportionate share. Especially if your dad dies. I stood up slowly. And Adam? He's been siphoning, she said. Your dad gave him access years ago. Said it was temporary. But Adam's been using it to prop up his image. The SUV? Paid with trust money. The vacations? Same. And you? I asked. She looked ashamed. I found out too late. And I didn't know how to stop it. Every time I brought it up, he'd threaten me. Gaslight me. Said if I told anyone, especially you, he'd frame me for fraud. My hands clenched into fists. Not in rage. In control. Pure, lethal control. I finally understood. They hadn't just shut me out. They'd been planning it. Preparing to erase me from the picture because I was the one loose thread that could unravel the whole operation. You said the Christmas thing was staged, I asked. All of them were in on it? Most of them, Kelly said. Even your mom. She told me to stay quiet and smile because it was for the good of the family. I let the silence hang. Then I asked, why are you telling me this now? She met my eyes. Because I'm pregnant, she whispered. And Adam doesn't know. The room went still. What? She nodded, tears threatening to spill. I don't want this baby raised in that web. I don't want them growing up thinking lies and manipulation are love. I took a slow breath. My brain ticking. Calculating. Realigning everything I thought I knew. And something strange happened. I smiled. Not out of happiness. But clarity. Because this wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was war. And they never saw it coming. That night, I returned home and reopened the winter folder. Created a new subfolder, contingency. I uploaded Kelly's documents. Added timestamps. Cross-referenced trust fund regulations. Family law. Tax code. I started building something new. Not destruction. Something smarter. A strategy. They built a narrative without me. Now I was writing the ending. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I didn't even tell them I knew. Because justice, real justice, doesn't knock first. It shows up with paperwork. And a deadline. I started with the trust. There were loopholes, vulnerabilities Adam had overlooked in his arrogance. The custodial structure hadn't been updated in decades. No updated signatories. No clauses to prevent a claim of mismanagement. With the documents Kelly provided, I had enough to open a formal inquiry with the fund's administrator. I didn't have to prove fraud. Just material concern. That was the magic phrase. The trust was frozen within 48 hours. All transactions suspended. Accountants involved. Legal oversight triggered. And just like that, the river of money Adam had been siphoning from dried to dust. Next came the public trail. I compiled everything into a sleek PDF, clean, professional, annotated. The tone wasn't bitter. It wasn't even emotional. It was surgical. A timeline. A list of payments. A log of transactions. And a closing statement. This document exists not as vengeance, but as record. In case any party attempts to revise history, misrepresent intentions, or rewrite facts. It is the truth. Signed, Jacob D. Miller. I emailed it to my parents, Adam and Kelly, every family member on the Family Ties Facebook group, the trust administrator, my lawyer. And then I walked away from my laptop, made myself a sandwich, and ate it in peace. The fallout was immediate. My mother tried to call first. I blocked her. Then came my father's email, subject line, "This isn't how families solve things." I archived it without reading. Adam? He sent 4 separate voice memos. One of them was crying. 2 were threats. The last one? Just the sound of him breathing, followed by a low, guttural "I hope you're proud." I was. Not because of the damage, but because I finally understood the power of absence. A week later, I received a letter from the trust. They had formally removed Adam as a beneficiary's representative. Due to misuse of disbursements, the entire family's access had been suspended pending further review. Kelly and I were contacted by a third-party investigator for interviews. She offered hers without hesitation. I showed up with a printed dossier. The accountant looked overwhelmed. "You really documented all this?" I just smiled. Families have traditions. Mine's accounting. In the end, there was no explosion. No dramatic courtroom climax. Just slow suffocation of the system they'd built on manipulation, secrecy, and guilt. My mother stopped texting after her 3rd message bounced. Dad went silent after the lawyer requested an audit of the mortgage transactions I'd contributed to. Adam? He moved out of his house. Kelly kept it. And when their divorce finalized, she listed me as a character witness in her favor. A month later, I got a small envelope in the mail. Inside was a drawing, crayon on construction paper. A wobbly house. A woman. A baby. A stick figure labeled Uncle J. I stared at it for a long time. Then I pinned it to my fridge. Right next to the photo of the Christmas presents no one thanked me for. Balance. A beginning and an end. It's strange how grief can live next to peace. How you can mourn the idea of a family, while being grateful that it's over. They didn't just lose me. They lost the version of me that ever wanted their approval. And me? I didn't get a family. But I got something better. Myself.